Come on, man. You got Larry June in the building. You listen to the Morning Roast, and we're doing numbers, man. Good job, Morning Roast. Sock it to me. Hey. Yee!
Got to get Larry June in the building. Levi Stadium. He's not the biggest sports fan, but he does numbers. That's for damn sure. By the way, Jerry Rice this Friday joining the roast at 8:30. And at that time, we're giving away a chance to win Jerry Rice's NFL Blitz Legend arcade console by Arcade 1UP Official. Now, here's the catch. You have to be a subscriber to 95.7 The Game on YouTube. And right now, we're at 19.8 subscribers. Wow, we're almost at 20,000, folks. Subscribe to YouTube right now, and you will have a chance to win Jerry Rice's NFL Blitz Legends arcade console. And by the way, shout out to YouTube, Twitch, Xfinity Mobile text line. And, of course, download the Odyssey app. 95.7 The Game, thousands of other stations, and millions of podcasts are free on the Odyssey app. And you can catch every single Warriors game live on the application, along with all the music and news the Bay Area needs. Follow your favorite team stations, radio shows, and podcasts now by downloading the free Odyssey app. Brian Baldinger coming up in 10 minutes as we continue to roll along here. It's Destroy Cowboy Week, folks. It's Destroy the Dallas Cowboys after they beat up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, 31-14. They'll make the trip to the West Coast to take on the 49ers at 3:30 in a rematch of last year's wild card round game where the Niners go down to Jerry's World and beat up on the Cowboys. And, of course, we know how that game ended. Spadoni, if you could pull up that last play of the game in a wild card game. This is how it ended. Dallas out there doing something smart. It was a very clever play, but you have no timeouts. Here's how that wild card game ended.
The game's over. They keep it in bounds. Dak has to get this out of bounds or he's taking a shot to the end zone. This is scary because I would take a shot to the end zone here when they're in the sideline defense because you actually can hold on to the ball. You need someone, San Francisco, to get to the quarterback here.
Prescott takes off running the football. Whoa, I don't think this is going to work out.
It will. They'll be able to clock this. They would plan for it. It's down. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, the official gets in the way. The game's over. The game is over.
Oh, he did.
You can't tell me that Nance wasn't on fire right there.
Oh, he was on fire.
And Romo was as well.
He was on fire. That drive was a little hairy, though. They got down the field a little too easy.
A little.
And remember how they got the ball back. 3rd and 13. They give it to Deebo Samuel on a handoff. They didn't trust Jimmy to throw the football.
No. Did you?
Well, he did a first down. Man.
They should have won that game by 2 touchdowns.
Easily. So I thought during that game, because Matt Nahigan on Twitter, he might be on Team Mute. But
what was that?
Matt Nahigan on Twitter last year. Baldy, we need an update from Jerry's World. What's going on? And I had these fans talking smack behind me. Oh, you're a liberal from California. Ha, ha, ha. That's why they talk trash in Texas. Is that their go-to? That's their go-to. You're a liberal. Oh, all the homeless you have out there.
Stick it to the lips.
Blah. Yeah, okay.
Meanwhile, they're embracing nothing but Californians in that entire state.
I'm so hurt. You guys are all moving down here. Yeah, because you idiots are selling land for cheap. Thank you. Jimmy Garoppolo throws an interception and get Dallas right back into that football game. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this even a football game? Remember how many times they settled for 3 in the first half?
Yes.
It's just like, score some touchdowns. But that's where Brock Purdy comes into play. Man. And I think you will score a lot more touchdowns this week than you will settle for 3.
And not only is it Brock Purdy's indoctrination into the rivalry, it's also CMC's.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go back and think about how difficult it was to move the ball late in that game because of the limitations of the quarterback. I would also argue they were kind of a one-trick pony with the Deebo Samuel offense. Right now, I know it was newer that week, and it got evolved as the weeks kept going on. Now you get a fully healthy Deebo.
Right.
Who didn't have to drag blood, sweat, and tears in a Week 18 game like he did last year. Now you get Ayuk, who's, I think, a better football player today than he was last year.
And he was a good player last year. He really came on the last 2 months of last season.
And Kittle looks the healthiest he's been in 3 or 4 years, this late in the season, right? I think their offensive line's in a better spot. I think the quarterback plays in a better spot. I think the run game is in a better spot. The question that I've got is...
Elijah ran well last year against Dallas.
No, he did.
He ran really well.
But that was a long season for the Rook.
That was.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's got fresh legs.
He put on a lot of pounding last year. I look at their defense this year, and I think their defensive line might be deeper than it was last year.
Yeah. If not as deep. Like Jordan Willis is a better player, right?
Agreed. And he's
who's
more
a better
impactful
player
this year.
Now, Drake Jackson, what's going to go on with him?
Did he get the DMP the other day? Because I didn't see him at all.
I didn't see him at all.
Hyder and Kinlaw actually made some contributions.
Kinlaw made some plays. Armstead made some plays.
Oh, Armstead
See,
was nice.
I don't worry about Ezekiel Elliott. The dude ran 13 times last night. Check these numbers out from Zeke. I don't worry about him at all.
It felt like 1 and 2 yards.
13,
boom, he goes
13
down.
carries, 27 yards.
There you go.
2 yards,
yards
a carry. So whenever they give him a carry or a snap, it benefits the 49ers. It's like Dylan Brooks playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. The longer he plays, the better it is for the Golden State Warriors. All right? That's Ezekiel Elliott at this stage of his career.
That's a good point.
He's washed. He's done.
I do worry about their passing game because they have some elite weapons on the outside, and I do feel like Dak is playing good football. Based off all of the advanced numbers, they were saying last night was the 11th best quarterbacked game in a playoff game ever.
Okay, well, we'll see.
You know who's number 14 on that list?
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. 888-957-9570.
Do you know what the 4 stands for with Dak?
What does it stand for?
His 4th loss in the playoffs, which is coming this Sunday.
That's a good one. 888-957-9570. We're smoking out this Cowboy pack all week long, despite what the 406 says. 406 is Xfinity Mobile text line. You guys are being way too harsh on the fans. Can't categorize an entire fan base based on a few bad apples. I love you guys, but come on now. Let me tell you something. If you have the moxie to put on that Cowboy uniform or wear a Cowboy hat
You're obnoxious.
or a Cowboy starter jacket, you are a bad apple.
Yeah.
You're going to be looked at as a fraud, like a Laker fan. I love you, Spadoni, but you know how I feel about Laker fans.
Here's my favorite part is, so appropriate for the state of Texas. There are 2 hosts in their market who are
RJ and Shane, or Sean spelt without a W or E.
Well, they're talking big.
Oh, they're talking. You see him last night?
Well, I was going to get in there and I was like, you know what? I'll be respectful for the time being. But they're talking big about the Cowboys. Like, dog, you grew up in New Jersey. You didn't even grow up a Cowboy fan.
Did they really grow up in New Jersey?
Well, they're basically saying that the fraudy Niners, that's what they're calling us, the fraudy Niners.
RJ Choppy, they're going to destroy the fraudy Niners.
That's what he tweeted.
And
I wanted to be the only fraud I know is you because you're from New Jersey and now you're waving the Cowboy flag.
I quote tweeted him with the Trent Williams picture with the Cowboy fans sticking a middle finger at him. And I just said, you're so funny.
I'm ready for Suge Knight this weekend.
Should we go down to Dallas? Should we talk to those jabronis?
I think we let the audience decide. Because I know you want another rematch with them. Even though
I bodied him twice.
Yeah.
He started talking. 3 minutes into that changeover, he started talking about my mama.
This is a game with a clean track and a dry day because it's gonna be dry for the whole week. I'm looking at all the weather reports. Bonte, dry all week. It's everything's drying out. This is a Bosa game. This is the Bosa game.
Well, it better be a Bosa game
because he was quiet on Sunday.
It better be a Bosa game
or Saturday. He was quiet.
It better be a Bosa game. 97 got to show up this week.
I mean, this is when
This is when the big dogs show up.
Exactly.
This is when the Lawrence Taylors, the Reggie Whites,
Charles Haley,
the Charles Haleys, whatever great defensive end you want to name. Kevin Green even had moments in the playoffs.
Aaron Donald last year.
Strahan.
Michael Strahan's a great call.
Good call.
Great call.
Youngest man on that old man Fox crew.
Willie McGinnis.
Oh, Willie, USC.
Vrabel. Teddy Bruschi. Those guys stepped up. This is the week for Bosa to step. Can't be quiet this week. I can't see him on the sideline on first down for multiple drives. 97 has to be in a football game, and he has to dominate. He has to dominate this week.
Think about this, Bay Area fans, as we're blanketing all of the fan base very easily, right? In terms of the Dallas Cowboys, we're doing this very simple. LeBron's a Cowboy fan. Doesn't that just
he's a Cowboy and Brown fan. Who knows who he likes?
But that's my point.
Yeah, I know.
The fact that LeBron's a Cowboy fan tells you everything you need to know about Cowboy fans in general.
Skip Bayless, Cowboy fan.
Oh, that Skips. Skip's the biggest loser on the internet.
I'd rather have Tony Pollard than CMC. Yeah, we'll see about that on Sunday.
Is there any more sad 75-year-old in the world than Skip Bayless? He's the most thirsty for clicks I've ever seen in my life.
It's not even thirsty for clicks. The guy makes about $8 million a year, and he can't even go outside. He can't even go to the grocery store. He can't go down to the liquor store and get a beef jerky. Can't do anything. A microwavable burrito that we used to eat back in the day from the liquor store. Can't even do that.
Doesn't he look miserable?
He does.
Well, it's because he's a Cowboy fan.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Baldy's going to join us in a minute here. Oh, by the way, I say maybe we could turn this around. I wanted to play this for Baldy. This was unbelievable. I sent you guys the Baldy. He was in a playoff game with the Eagles, and Matt was like, everybody has a Brian Baldinger on their team. Everybody has a Baldy. I forgot to send that sound to you guys in the thread. Anyway, Baldy's coming up in 30 seconds as we get ready for Cowboys and Niners. What's the one concern you have against the Cowboys? What is the concern you have? The number one concern.
The number one concern is I think this is the best team the Niners have faced in 3 or 4 months. That's the number one concern. I have a healthy fear of their weapons offensively, and then I feel like they're super balanced on both sides of the ball. Like, not only can they run it, they can throw it a little on offense, and then on defense, they do a really good job of slowing down the run, and I think that they do a really good job because these are number 1 and number 2 defenses. They do a really good job of getting after the quarterback. So you're looking at a very balanced team. Like, if we were just saying who has the best chance of winning the Super Bowl, coming out of the NFC, I think that if the Dallas Cowboys beat the Niners, they have a good a shot as any to win the Super Bowl.
No doubt.
I think they can knock off Philly, and I honestly think they can beat the 49ers. This is a 50-50 game.
Wow. 50-50 game.
Yes. I think all the pressure's on Dak, though. To me, this is all about Dak. This is a legacy game for Dak. Dak, you cannot lose to a rookie. Mike McCarthy cannot lose to a rookie. With Sean Payton out there, basically having his choice of jobs.
Right. I don't think Sean Payton's going to take the Dallas job.
No, but if you're McCarthy, you know that talk is coming.
Mike McCarthy, no doubt.
You can't lose to Shanahan two years in a row.
It depends how you lose.
With Jimmy G and Brock Purdy?
Well, I think that is the matchup.
What, Shanahan, McCarthy?
No, Shanahan, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn. That's a juicy matchup. Former assistant for the Atlanta Falcons, Dan Quinn. Shanahan got a lot of heat for that Super Bowl loss. Dan Quinn looking for a head coaching job. The assistant of the year a season ago. Dan Quinn's got that defense humming, man. But you know what? It's Shark Week. It's Dallas Week. Let's go. Let's get Baldy in here. Let's go. And we love them. We love them, especially a week like this weekend, the greatest weekend in sports, divisional round, playoff football. It's going to be some body bag games this weekend as Brian Baldinger joins us on the Bud Light guest line. All postseason guests appear on the Bud Light guest line. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Before we get Baldy in here, this is how we're setting the tone this week because Matt recognized what a Baldinger was and who a Baldinger is. Here's John Madden back in the day when Baldy was playing for the Eagles.
They've been getting movement over there. Baldinger's one of those guys. It seems like every team has a Baldinger on it. There's been 3 brothers that have been over there. Left guard, he's been injured. Baldinger, David Alexander, the center, Baldinger, the left guard, and Ron.
That's unbelievable.
It's the best.
And Baldy up there wearing number 62, getting down and dirty in the Superdome. Baldy, what's happening, man? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. It's good to be with you. I mean, come on. We just got through the wild card weekend last night. We got the matchups all set for the divisional round. I mean, for a football fan, like, this is just nirvana. It's just nirvana. Like, you can chew these games up and chop these games up and analyze these games and never get tired of doing it, ever. Like, until they kick off, like, you can't, like, it never ends right now. This is like, it should just be 1-2-week holiday until we get the Super Bowl matchups all set.
I love this. I mean, from a league perspective, I know we'll talk about the game that the Niners had over the weekend, but like league perspective, they wake up this morning, Roger Goodell, the NFL Network, all the different Fox who's going to be broadcasting the game. Niners Cowboys. This might break records.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Cowboys earlier this year, I forget, maybe it was the Giants game. It was one of the Cowboy games this year. It had an audience of 48 million people. It was the highest rated regular season game of all time.
Yeah, Baldy, they've had 4 to 5.
It's going to have a viewership of probably somewhere around 60 million, which we've never, who knows? I mean, it's going to be way, way high. They're all going to tune in. This is the premier matchup right here. Historical franchises. You go back and forth. All the players have played both sides, from Deion all the way through. I mean, they'll all be brought up. They'll all be brought in for talk shows. I mean, we're all going to be talking about it.
Well, when I say Niners Cowboys, what's the image in your head then?
Well, I mean, you know, the playoff games between the two of them. I mean, it was T.O.'s coming out party. You know, I mean, whether it's T.O. or, you know, prime time or, you know, I mean, you know, I came in the year after the catch.
Oh.
So the catch is NFC Championship 1981, Montana, Dwight Clark over Everson Walls, Too Tall Jones in the face of Joe Montana, you know, on the drive. Like, that's how I came into the league. Like, I was a rookie that next year, and Landry basically said, we got to get tougher. So the whole training camp was all about, we got to get tougher. I mean, this whole thing started really on that game. Yeah. This rivalry, which goes now through these generations, all right? And these decades is now in a new decade with these two teams. And you can start with the catch and just go all the way through the 80s, the 90s. I remember, like, literally pulling into Candlestick Park as a rookie with the Dallas Cowboys, coming in to play the 49ers, and I'm sitting on the back of the bus. And back then at Candlestick, they just dropped you off like in the parking lot. And you walked into the stadium. There was no underground parking or anything like that. You know that, Joe.
Cyclone fence.
So I'm in the back of the bus. I'm sitting with the defensive line, and we pull up, and, you know, the door's open. Guys are getting off the bus, and I get up, and Randy White just pulls me by the back of the shirt, and he says, sit down. I go, what's up? He goes, let them throw all their bottles. Let them throw all their paraphernalia. Let them throw everything first. Then we go off the bus. Like, they knew what was coming.
It's unbelievable, Brian Baldinger here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game as we get ready for Cowboys and Niners. Dust setting, 3:30 kick at Levi Stadium. Probably the most electric Levi Stadium is ever going to be. Probably the biggest game at Levi Stadium for the 49ers as it gets set to play the Cowboys. Now, last year, the Niners beat them up a little bit, and we know how that game ended. What has Dallas done to get better and get back to this point to face the 49ers in the second round, Baldy?
Well, I think they're much better on the offensive line than they were a year ago. Whether Jason Peters starts and Tyler Smith plays left guard. I mean, Tyron Smith is really good right now at right tackle. They're much better on the offensive line. They committed a ton of penalties last year, Bonte, in that game. They were constantly in negative situations. Last night, I mean, outside of the 4 extra points missed, they really kept the penalties to a minimum. And so they're playing much better up front. And I just think, Dak, as bad as he was week 18 against Washington, he was every bit as good last night. I mean, he didn't make a bad read. Outside of the first 2 series, which both teams looked like they had a lot of jitters in that game. Tampa never got rid of theirs, but Dallas, unloaded those. And then Dak just got hot. I mean, the way that they attacked their zones last night, even when there was man coverage and they blitzed them, he had an answer for every single thing that they did. And so, that to me is one difference why they're better right now.
I feel like the Niners' offense is better. Like, obviously, the CMC addition just changes so many things, but the quarterback play in general feels better. Baldy, there's so much, like, there's like, he's the next Montana. Oh, he's a product of the system. Like, 2 opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of criticisms right now. I feel like his first half wasn't great, but that second half, you just can't teach what this kid's doing. It's real to me. What is it to you when you watch Brock Purdy?
Well, I mean, both touchdown passes to McCaffrey and to Eli Mitchell, I mean, none of those are primary receivers. I mean, all of those are secondary where he's looking one side, and then either he spins to Elijah Mitchell to find him open on the other side of the field, or he just throws that, it looked like an ollie jab, to Christian McCaffrey. He threw a smoke route to McCaffrey. The ball was supposed to go on a toss to Debo. Like, he just saw an opening there. I don't know what the signal was between him and McCaffrey, but it was there for a quick slant. Like, he's just seeing the field so well. And the throws in the middle of the field from day one against the Dolphins, Joe.
Yeah.
From day one, usually the middle of the field is the most valuable piece of real estate in a football game. You get a ball tipped in the middle of the field, those balls get intercepted. We've seen Tayshaun Gibson, Hufanga. We've seen these guys take interceptions away for the 49ers. Like, no ball's getting tipped at the line of scrimmage. Tell me the last time you've seen a ball tipped at the line of scrimmage with this kid.
Yeah, I know.
Like, right?
Yep, no doubt.
We saw Brady get balls tipped last night. Like, his balls don't get tipped. And when he throws the ball in the middle of the field, he's hitting Ayuk in stride. He's hitting Kittle in stride. They're all making yards after the catch. Like, I don't know But people say, oh, it's just the system of Shanahan. Oh, okay. Like, he's a good coach. He's a good play designer. They've got elite talent. The quarterback still has to make all these throws.
No doubt.
Still got to make all these reads.
No doubt.
He's still doing it under duress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the guy's like I always like that movie, The Natural, with Robert Redford.
Yeah.
Like, he's Robert Redford for crying out loud right now.
I mean, he's playing unbelievable football. It's hard to look at him as a rookie. You know, you get no nerves with him. It's just like, okay, how is he going to bounce back from the nerves of that first possession? But you brought up Shanahan, Baldy, as we are talking to Brian Baldinger, as we do every single Tuesday at 7:30 during the football season. I thought Shanahan had a great feel for the game last Saturday. His play calling, his design, it was next level. The Seahawks had no clue what to do. I saw all type of guys. I'm sure you did too, seeing guys running wide open Saturday against the Seahawks.
They had 6 explosive pass plays. 6. I mean, including obviously Debo's, nail in the coffin, catch and run. But Joanne Jennings, I mean, you know all the catches. I mean, explosive plays down the field. And anytime you could chart this, in the world of metrics that we live in, I mean, anytime you have a drive where you have an explosive play, the percentages of you scoring on that drive, whether it's a field goal or touchdown, it just goes up incrementally. Just one explosive play. For example, if you're Aaron Banks, you come out of the huddle and you're at the 25-yard line and you get a 25-yard throw to Ayuk in the middle of the field, you're at midfield. You come back in the huddle and you're like, we're scoring on this drive. Just mentally, we're scoring. We're on the other side of the 50. We're going to score on this. You're already thinking, like, positive things. As a group, you're just thinking positive things.
Is this the most explosive offense left in the NFC?
Yeah. I think it's the most, it's them in Kansas City in the whole NFL right now.
Wow.
But, the thing that they're not
Philly,
doing,
huh, Baldy? No Philly, huh?
Well, I mean, I got to say, Philly was, they haven't put it together in almost a month now, Bonte. So can they get it together? Like, the Giants are cooking.
Right.
Like, their passing game just makes sense. And the quarterback, you can't get him, like, he's just making one good throw after another. So when people say it's how you're playing at the end of the season, it's how you're playing at the end of the season.
Right.
It's how it's all clicking, whatever the down distance situation is. And so, is it the most explosive offense? I mean, put the ball on any of these guys. Every single guy is touching it. Every guy.
Well, on that note, like Debo, because B and I were talking about it, like at the beginning of the year, it felt like 3, 4, 5 guys are around Debo every time he touches the ball, no matter what they did, in the backfield, as a wide receiver, whatever. Since the McCaffrey addition, and especially with his fresh legs, he's wide open. Like, wide. I didn't even know he could run that fast, Baldy.
Well, the one thing that you notice when you really kind of slow it down, Joe, is just the level of spacing on a field. Mm-hmm. And so if you're a zone team, you're going to get just, McCaffrey comes, like you just see this one motion that they're doing now where they just start sliding him out from the running back position. They're already widening the curl flat, the hook curl defenders. They're already widening with McCaffrey. And you're just getting these spaces right now. Now, it puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line. Yeah. You're going to have Micah come in and like that. Nobody wins like Micah. Even Nick Bosa doesn't win like Micah. That guy is just elite movement, and he just flashes so quickly. But, it puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line because you're not chipping and you're not doing some of those things to help the quarterback. But you can if you need to. But you're just seeing the spacing on the field right now. And you're just like, well, if you're in zone coverage like Seattle was most of the night, like you're just going to get these huge windows to throw the ball into.
So what's this recipe for Dallas's success on the defensive end of the football? Because Dan Quinn and Shanahan working together, Baldy, they're familiar with each other. Micah Parsons, you talked about Dexter Lawrence. You got Diggs, who's a ball hawk. What is this defense going to bring to the table Sunday? What's the weakness of the Cowboys defense, Baldy?
Well, I mean, outside of Micah, you don't really notice Tank Lawrence right now. You don't really notice Dante Fowler. They're not a big blitz team. Micah kind of moves the quarterback off the spot, gets him moving, and everybody else kind of chases. I mean, that's a weakness. Last night, they started Deron Bland, who's a rookie, at corner. He'd been a slot corner, but they had been beaten so many times at the left corner position that it was a rotating group. I mean, you just go through the guy. Ever since Anthony Brown got hurt, like literally they lined up 4 different guys, Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright. I mean, you go through the list of guys, they were all getting beat. So last night, they put Mukuamu, second-year player to Auburn, in the slot, and then eventually they put Xavier Rhodes on the field. Yeah. So I still believe corner is a weakness for this team. Yeah. But for the 49ers now, like this has been going on from week 1 against Chicago. Like the touchdown throw to DK, 50 yards. Like, that's a shot play. All right, it's an elite receiver. It beat a good corner, Travarius. But, the big plays in the passing game, the Cowboys are certainly capable of doing that with CD, certainly capable of doing that with Michael Gallup or Schultz. Like, they'll take their shots. And so, like I say every week, I mean, it's not like a revelation, but how you play the ball in the air sometimes determines the outcome. That gave them the 14-13 lead.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a game.
Yep.
Halfway the third quarter until Amenahu got the ball out of, Geno Smith's hand. And the whole thing just turned around right there.
That was one of the best throws I've ever seen at Levi Stadium from Geno Smith on that Metcalf touchdown. I mean, he placed it perfectly up the sideline, and it was an incredible throw. Why was Bosa so quiet in that game?
Well, he made a lot of plays in the run game.
Gotcha.
I don't, he's not winning quick right now. It's almost all power. And, I feel like he has a different rush from the right side than he does the left side.
Huh.
They had a couple blitzes last night where he kind of, he's driving like you see an Armstead, sack. Bosa had a hand in how the quarterback moved because of it.
Right.
But I just don't see him winning quick right now. He's just collapsing the pocket at a steady rate. So in the run game, he can't be blocked. Like, he's just getting off all blocks, which you expect him to do. But, nobody's able to. I mean, he probably had 4 solo tackles just in the run game. So he's been elite like that.
Baldy, how much did the rain have to do with that? Because a lot of fans are asking, what was it, the wet surface? Was it the rain that slowed down Nick Bosa in the pass rush? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the footing is a lot. Has a lot to do with it, for sure. Just how your cleats are digging into the ground can affect just what kind of push you're getting and what kind of power you're getting. If you're just not getting the same type of traction with your feet, I mean, that's where all your power gets generated from.
All right, I want to go around the league real quick, Baldy, as we get ready for Niners and Cowboys. We got some monster matchups. Bengals and Bills, Orchard Park. Doesn't get better than that on a Sunday morning. You got Jaguars. Nobody's giving them a shot in Kansas City, although they saw Kansas City earlier in this year, and I think that game was closer than a lot of people think. And then, of course, you got the Eagles and Giants. Hey, let's start with Jaguars and KC. Do the Jags have a puncher's shot at beating the Chiefs?
Yeah, I do. I think they do. They're taking the ball away. Now, they didn't take it away from the Chargers. But, anytime you're down 27-0 and you find a way to come back, I mean, that's a shot of adrenaline for any football team. Doug Peterson knows Andy. Andy knows Doug Peterson. There's a lot of familiarity, just everything, formations, preparation. Like, there's a great deal of familiarity between those two. I mean, what you have to do is you've got to force Mahomes into mistakes. He's capable of doing it just like Josh Allen is, because these guys are looking for kill shots all the time. And they get themselves in trouble sometimes. And so that's what they've got to do. I would imagine that, you got to go after Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle. I mean, Zeus is a big man. He sort of obliterates the sun with his size, just an eclipse. But you can beat him off the edge. So, I mean, I would expect, Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, coming to the backside of Mahomes right now.
Brian,
and so look, red zone defense is everything in this whole world. Can you keep them out of the end zone?
Yeah, no doubt. Brian Daboll and the Giants. Impressive win in Minnesota. I think we both like the Giants, Shasky, to go to Minnesota and win that football game. Danny Dimes playing out of his mind. Saquon Barkley looking fresh. That defense is flying around. Third time against the Eagles, divisional game. Giants upset in Philly.
I'm not calling for an upset right now, but I know this. When you get a Dory Jackson and Xavier McKinney back on defense, you got chess pieces. You give Wink Martindale enough chess pieces, in addition to Dexter Lawrence and Big Cat Williams, just completely dominant on the interior of their defensive line. You crush the pocket the way Sexy Dexy did on a regular basis. I mean, Kirk Cousins just trying to get the ball out of his hand. And so they've got what it takes right now to make things difficult for the Eagles.
Baldy, before you get out of here, because we're going to go nostalgic all week. I mean, that's just what I live for, this kind of stuff. I want your best Randy White story. That was my dad's least favorite player on the Dallas Cowboys. Give me your best Randy White story.
So in 1984, we opened up against the Rams on a Monday night. And it was big, huge national TV. We're at the Big A in Anaheim. And he held out all of training camp. Like, there was no social media or anything. He's out on some fishing pond, bass fishing, holding out for a new contract. So nobody knew. Nobody was in contact with him. No, nobody on the team, nobody in the organization, nothing. Is Randy going to show up? Is Randy not going to show up? So literally, he doesn't fly in on the team chart or anything like that. He shows up in the locker room before the game. Didn't take one snap of preseason. Put number 54 on. Went into the phone booth, put his cape on, and went out there and tore the Rams up. Not one single play of preseason, and was the most dominant player on the field.
Wow.
Randy White. Need to bring him back out here. Niners, Cowboys, Sunday, 3:30. We got Bills, Bengals, Eagles, Giants, Jags, Chiefs. The best weekend of sports. Divisional round football for a ticket to the championship game. Cannot wait. Baldy, are you calling any games this weekend? What's your deal?
No, I'm just working for Sky Sports, doing all the analysis.
Okay.
Nice.
So we'll be in the studio, just breaking it down. When America goes to commercial, we come to listen to what Baldy has to say about what just happened on a play.
I love that.
Do you call them wankers? Like what's some of the British terminology that maybe you use on Sky Sports that you don't use with us?
Well, I mean, you play on a pitch, Joe. You play on a pitch. You don't play on a field. You play on a pitch right there.
Oh, Baldy, you're the best.
Man. We'll talk to you
All right,
next
guys.
Tuesday.
You,
We'll
buddy.
break these games
All right,
down.
man.
What a week, man. Baldy, you're the best.
Okay. See you guys.